And let me remind you also that moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue.
One of the great moments in political history in the United States, and of course, really known as a Republican, but also a great libertarian, Barry Goldwater, speaking at that convention 53 years ago. Speaking of well-known Republicans and people who actually have, well, I don't think that they would be considered necessarily your standard boilerplate Republican because they are Friends of Liberty, and among those is a member of the House Freedom Caucus, and that is Idaho's own Raul Labrador. He's joining us this morning on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com, and have a conversation about a bill that he has been working on, and this is because of the death of a neighbor of his 5 years ago, a 16-year-old who was a super achiever at her school, and then some issues that came along when her dad was a Navy veteran and a captain and was trying to transfer some veterans benefits for educating children and encountered some difficulty. I've got some details about that this morning. 63 right now. Bill Cowley with you as well on Top Story at 8:19 on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. And Representative Labrador, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be on your show, Bill.
I wanted to touch on this subject because I was unaware of this, having grown up where I know my dad took advantage of veterans benefits, GI Bill and the like. Apparently, this young woman, Shauna Hill, had been designated to receive some of these benefits by her father, and then after her death, from what I've read about this, he was unable to transfer those benefits to the other children in the family. And you're looking to maybe provide some sort of a remedy for families who might be in that situation.
Correct. So under the GI Bill, every family can designate a beneficiary. And he had designated his oldest daughter, Shauna Hill. She's a beautiful 16-year-old girl from Eagle, Idaho. And as the oldest daughter, he had designated her, and she died in a tragic accident. She actually was in school with some of my children, and I didn't know the family at the time, but I had heard about the tragedy. And we found out in our office that she had been working on a congressional award. So we awarded the medal to her posthumously. And as we were talking to the family, and we were just so touched by their story and what an amazing family they are. Her dad had been a Navy pilot for 28 years. Her mother's amazing. She had a younger sister. They expressed to us the frustration that they could not transfer the benefits from their oldest daughter to their youngest daughter. And we just thought, there's got to be a way to fix that. It should be easy. So we put our staff to work, and we learned the same thing that they had learned, that the law did not allow it. It wasn't just a glitch. It was just the law said that once the service member is retired, which he was at the time, he could not transfer the benefits to any other individual. And we just didn't believe that was the purpose of the law. So the family decided, I told the family, well, we're going to look just for a legislative fix. And we did. We found a way to fix it. And what's amazing about this family, it tells you everything you need to know about them, is that they no longer benefit from this because their youngest daughter has already graduated from college. But they decided that they wanted to make sure that no other family had to go through what they did. So we've been working on this for the last few months. The bill just passed the House this week. I'm really proud of that. Senator Crapo is a sponsor of a similar bill in the Senate, and we feel that it's going to pass here pretty soon, if not this week, maybe as soon as we get back from recess. So I'm feeling really good about this, and I'm just honored to have known this family, to leave, and as the father said, that his daughter Shauna is leaving a legacy for other military families. I just think it's an amazing story, and it just tells you the heart and soul of people in the military. Like I said, it doesn't benefit them in any way, but they're just hoping that they can leave this legacy for future families that go through the same thing.
I can't imagine it not moving through the Senate quickly as well. And then it would seem that at least the president, he doesn't just talk about helping veterans, that this is a president who's actually very serious about doing what it takes to honor them and to care for them as we've promised in the past and their families. So my guess is this has a pretty good chance of becoming law or changing law.
I think so. I think it has a very good chance, and it passed the House unanimously. So I feel good that we're going to be able to get it through the Senate without any issues.
And of course, she's been gone for 5 years. So as you pointed out, the younger daughter couldn't take advantage of having already gone through college. There's no way this could be done apparently retroactively.
Correct.
Speaking of people who passed away and who made a name for themselves, Idahoans and the like. Perhaps I think that I had a discussion about this with the governor one day, who was the most well-known athlete out of Idaho. And when I said Jerry Kramer, he said, I beg to differ. And he immediately said, we can't forget Harmon Killebrew. Through some of your efforts as well in Mr. Killebrew's hometown, there's going to be a change where he's going to be remembered at his local post office.
Yes, we're going to name the Payette Post Office for baseball great Harmon Killebrew, and it's pretty exciting. I'm actually not a huge. I have not done any post office namings in the whole time I've been in Congress. I don't think it's something that I don't know. It's not something that I've came to Congress to do. But now you're talking about a legend. You're talking about somebody that everybody knows that has left a huge legacy for the state of Idaho. And I just thought it would be a great way to honor him. When we found out that his local post office had not been named after anybody, I just thought that would be just a great way to honor him. And I have a fun story about that. So I grew up, as you know, in Puerto Rico. And Roberto Clemente was my hero when I was young, as who was the great player from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So when I went to the Washington Nationals game, the first Washington Nationals games that I went to, they have these columns with the great baseball players of the history of the United States, and guess which two players are standing side by side? It's Roberto Clemente and Harmon Killebrew. I think that's really. I walked in and I was just like, "Wow, that's awesome."
I've seen those. I've seen those columns. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen the columns.
What?
I've been to the park a number of times. Consider Nationals Park hallowed ground.
Yeah.
And they have a great tradition of honoring past and present ball players there.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I just remember. And I wish I would have taken a picture because I just thought these two great legends from my life are standing side by side here. So I thought that was pretty neat.
As I understand it, you cannot have a living American on a postage stamp. Is it similar when it comes to naming a post office after someone?
I don't believe so, and and I probably don't. I should know that, but I think you can have a living person on a named for a post office, but I don't know the answer.
I was a little disappointed when
No, you can't. Okay, my staff is correcting me. You cannot.
Okay, so it's similar to the postage stamp then as well.
Yes.
As I understand it too, there's no museum, at least not a large museum in Killebrew's honor anywhere in Payette, which caught me by surprise because I had wanted to drive there one day just to look at it, and I did some online searching, and I can't find anything along those lines. But I'm sure that this may spur some people into thinking about some development along those lines as well.
Absolutely. No, I think this is a tremendous honor. I think it's worthy. Nobody deserves it more. I think the people of that community just love him and are honored to that he's from that area. So, and he's just a great hometown hero. So we're very excited about that.
I understand, as you pointed out, you went to Washington to make a difference politically and not necessarily in the sports world, but would anybody in the Idaho delegation have any influence on the Pro Football Hall of Fame so that we could maybe get Kramer finally honored there as well?
We should look into that.
I grew up, I learned to read on his books, checking them out of the local library when I was a little boy. And that's how I learned to read books that were longer than, Dr. Seuss. So I owe him that. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. And the most amazing thing about Killebrew is that he was not just a great baseball player. I love the quote that was given to us by his wife, that somebody read a tribute from a fan, and it said, Harmon is an extraordinary, beautiful, loving, compassionate human being who also happens to be a legendary baseball player. So we all wish we could be remembered that way.
Absolutely. You know, so many athletes today give their sports a bad reputation. He was not one of those people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
And yes, sir. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Representative Raul Labrador joining us this morning, touching on a bill that he's worked on in the House that has now moved on to the Senate, which could drastically change for the better the way that we handle veterans' benefits, as well as the effort to get the post office named after perhaps one of Idaho's greatest citizens. That would be the Payette Post Office after Harmon Killebrew. We've got a break coming up, and also want to point out, after 9 o'clock this morning, the representative referenced Senator Crapo. I've got some sound clips we'll play later in the morning from a floor speech the senator made, and that had to deal with Russia sanctions, because there's an interesting twist to that in Idaho politics. Some of the Republicans in Kootenai County are opposed to the decision, and they went on record as being opposed. We've got the break coming up in just a few seconds. It's 63. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and NewsRadio1310.com.